Hi there, welcome to our buyer's guide for football tables. I'm going to take you through everything that you need to know to choose the right football table for either your home, for your office or educational use, for your bar or for tournament use. There's quite a lot in this video, so if you do want to whiz forward, you can do by checking out in our description or below to see the section that refers to your usage. But I do recommend that you watch the whole thing because you'll pick up all the info you need to know on all the features that all of our tables have. Okay, let's look at some key features now, and we're going to talk about rods. So we've either got telescopic rods or solid rods. Telescopic rod basically enables you to move the player backwards and forwards here. Nothing comes out of the side of the table. If you go for a solid rod table, then you'll see that the rod actually comes out the side, and in the case of the defenders, comes out quite a long way. What's the difference between the two? Well, a telescopic rod table plays really well, unless you're a pro player. If you're a pro player and you want to have the ultimate football table experience, you'd want to have solid rods, but they're just not very safe because the height of that, it's dangerous if it catches you, particularly if you've got kids. If you've got a child running around, you could easily catch them in the face, and you certainly don't want that. So really, I would advise for family use, always go for telescopic. If you're a serious player and it's adults going to be watching you and there's no chance that somebody's going to get caught by a rod, by all means go for a solid rod table. Okay, so let's talk about probably the most important thing, and that is the thickness of the cabinet and the strength it gives you. And this is where you really get what you pay for. If you go for a lower priced table, like this one here, for example, you can see the thickness of the cabinet is not all that great. It's pretty thin. Two things with this really is it's not that strong if it's going to be enthusiastically played with. It's not going to be that robust, and also if you're moving it about a lot, it won't be as strong. If you go for a thicker cabinet with the sides are made out of MDF, and you can look at the sizes and thickness of those. They're all on the website. In the specifications you can see what they are. The more money you spend, the thicker the cabinet size. And the benefit, as well as being stronger, is the ball response, as the ball bounces off the walls on the cabinet, is a lot better the thicker the side panels are. So that's a key feature I think is well worth considering as you look up through the price range when you're choosing the table you're going to get. Okay, let's talk about leg levelers. So a useful feature if your floor isn't all that level, and you'll be surprised how unlevel floors are. A lot of tables, and it's worth just checking in the spec on our website for all the different tables. A lot of the tables come with leg levelers, and it is simple as just screwing the foot up and down to get it to go level. Now you can do that just by putting a spirit level on it, but probably the best thing to do is just to put the ball on, see which way it's rolling. If you feel it's rolling one way or the other, give the feet a twiddle just to get it up to the right level. So I think that's a good feature to look for. So check out the listings to make sure you get that if you'd like it. Okay, let's talk about folding football tables next. So some customers want to be able to get the table out, have a game, and then fold it up, pop it away. There's not very many models that have this, but we've got an example here, which is the Olympico, which is a folding model, and it's pretty easy to do. You literally just stand it up on the end, undo the screws on the four legs, fold it all in, and you can pop it away until you want to get it back out and play it again. Okay, last thing to consider is an outdoor table. So they're called an outdoor table because the materials used to make them are designed for the table to be stored outdoors. What that doesn't mean is you can't leave a football table open to the elements. It's going to get rained on because it will fall apart. If you use a normal indoor table outdoors and you store it outdoors, the MDF you'll find will swell, it will delaminate, and over time it will slowly fall apart. It's just not designed for that. So if you get an outdoor table, it's important to remember that it must be under a solid roof or popped into your garage when you're not using it. You can't leave it out in the elements. Okay, next thing, let's talk about lubrication for your rods. So Tube Lube, this comes with all the Total Football tables included free of charge, and this is basically just to put onto the rods to keep them sliding. It makes a massive difference in terms of the playability of the tables if you use this stuff, so it's really good. If you don't buy a Total Football table, you can get other silicone gel type lubricants. Garlando do a spray slidey, and that basically does the same sort of thing. That comes in a can that you spray onto there. So important thing, that comes free of charge with Total Football tables. Okay, so having talked about lube, let's talk about balls. So standard balls that come with it, made out of plastic. The smaller size comes with the smaller size tables like the Olympico. You get a smaller size ball there, or that is a normal size ball, which come with it with the larger kind of 5-foot size tables. Next along is you've got a cork ball. Now these tend to come with the French made tables, so Sulpi, Bonzini, they'll come with a cork ball, and that's just the style that they've always come with. The benefit of a cork ball is it's quite sort of, it's easier to control with the players. If you're trying to block the ball, it won't slip away from underneath the feet of your player. So that's the benefit of that. And then a way of getting that not being in cork is a plastic type of ball, which is a high control ball, and they tend to come with the ITSF tables. So you'll find that the cork balls come in the Classique, and the high control balls come in the Classica as standard. But check out each table's listing if you're concerned about what type of ball is supplied with the table. Each listing will tell you exactly which one comes with it. Okay, so let's talk about choosing a football table for your home. So the good news is you can pick whichever one you like the look of, basically. We've curated the range to make sure that everything that we carry, they're all top notch. But within that, there are some details that you need to look at. So one of the key things is size. So let's go through the different sizes of table that you can consider depending upon the people that are going to be using the table. Okay, let's talk about the smaller size of table first. This is a 4-foot table. That refers to the length of it. It's 122 centimetres. Importantly, think about the height. The height of these ones is only 81 centimetres. It doesn't sound a lot of difference because when you go up to the mid-range, you're up to 85 and the larger ones are 88. But actually when you're playing it, it does make quite a difference. For an adult, you are bending over quite a lot. So I would say that really the smaller size tables like the Olympico or the Garlando F2 really are for ages up to sort of 13 or 14 years of age in terms of being the ideal size. Okay, so on to the mid-size. This is 4.5 to 4.7 feet, so that's about 140, 144 centimetres. Again, remember that is the length. The height of those is 85, and the models that applies to is the Rosario, the Classico, the F5, F20, and F100 Garlando models. So it's a bit of a mid-range, and then after that you go up to the full size, which is 5 foot. Right, so what we'd call a full-size table is 5 foot in size, so that's about 152 centimetres. The height of those is between 86 and about 90. It's important to check each individual model. If you're really worried about the exact size of them, they're very, very different between different models, and that really depends upon the size of the cabinet on the end. They've generally always got the same sort of size playing field, but it depends on the design of how the ends of the table work. In terms of the amount of size that you need to play, you've got to remember that nothing doesn't really matter on the end. So you could put the end up against a wall, but you've got to allow for the rods and the player to be able to go on both sides of the table. So we would advise about 8.5 to 9 foot is what you need to allow for to fit that in. And some customers do underestimate the amount of space needed for you to be able to move between the rods and play the game. Okay, so at the end of the home use section, if you're now going to go off and start having a look at the ranges, let's just give you a bit of a steer as to the brands to look for. So if you're looking at the entry price point range, I'd look at Total Fuzzball. If you're midpoint, look at Garlando. And if you're higher end, I'd say go for Sulpi, Bonzini or RS Barcelona. Hope that helps. Okay, so on to the next section, and that is table footballs for use in either an office kind of breakout area or in an education setting where you might have students or teachers, I guess, playing on the tables. In terms of size, let's start off with that first. Just go for a 5 foot. Do not go for something smaller than that because it just will not be robust enough. When people start playing table football, they get very excited, very enthusiastic, and you need it to be strong. So always look at a 5 foot model or upwards. Okay, so the other feature I would say to look for, other than picking the right size, is whether you want to have a glass top to go on it. So normal football tables are open topped. You can reach in, pick up the ball, do whatever you want. Depending upon the environment in which you're putting it, you might want to stop people being able to pop rubbish in there, keep the playfield clear, and stop them maybe pinching the balls. And so if you go for a glass top on there, you'll find that not only does that protect the play field. It also makes it quieter. You get less noise as people are playing it. And also the balls are kept within a ball runner so people can't disappear off with the ball. So if that is a risk, I would say certainly look for a glass top model. They start from about £1,000 upwards. All right, so let's give you a bit of a steer for our office and education use in terms of the sort of low, medium and high price bands to have a look at. For the lower end, we're saying Capital, Eternal, Le Classique and the Classico. They're all in our table fuzzball range. If you're looking for a medium sort of level, then we're looking at the Garlando Champion or the Garlando G500. And for the higher end, picking out a few key features here, the Garlando Class is a glass topped table that I was talking about earlier on, and that's also got the ball feeder feature in there, so that's a good model. If you wanted one for sort of competition standard, then the Classica, which is here, that's an ITSF standard table to have a look at. And if you want something which is sort of super stylish, then I would say look at the Sulpi, Bonzini or RS Barcelona models. They all look really cool. Depends what sort of vibe you wanted to get in your office, but if you've got a higher end, those are the three brands to have a look at. Okay, so let's look at tables now for commercial use, and you'd sort of really consider that this would generally be for coin operated usage, but it's worth just mentioning that we do sell quite a lot of free play tables where, you know, establishments buy them for customers just to play on, just because it's good fun and it adds to the vibe of the venue. And really what I'd look at there is Bonzini, Sulpi, RS Barcelona, again they're the sort of three sort of top brands. Of particular note is Bonzini. They actually make two really long ones. They make the half giant, which is actually, you can play with sort of 10 players on that size. Obviously you need quite a bit of space. Or the full giant, which actually allows you to have 11 players on each side. But it's really long, but it's a real statement piece for your location. So have a look at those on the website if you're interested in those. But let's move on to talking about coin operated options, and I'll run you through the key things to look for. Okay, so looking at the coin-operated side of the commercial range, at the entry sort of price point, you've got the Signature Scudetto and you've got the Garlando Caperto Deluxe and the Olympic Silver. They're all around the same sort of price. They use a simple sliding coin mechanism. The customer puts their coin into it. You can change the denominations that it will take, and they push it in, and the pushing motion pushes the balls out, vend for the player to have a game, and you can set how many balls you want there to be vended and then played before they all go in the goals and are ready for the next game. So that's the most common type that you'll get. You can now also get contactless payments on there. There's a Roberto Sport model now that also does contactless, so have a look at that if contactless payments are important to you. And the last thing to consider is if you want an outdoor model. There are a couple of outdoor models that are available. Again, Roberto Sport have got those. Check those out, but again, make sure you do not leave them out in the elements to get soaking wet, because it will all rust and fall apart. So they're really designed to be over a solid roof and never get wet in that environment. Okay, let's talk quickly just about competition grade tables. The important logo to look for is ITSF. That stands for the International Table Soccer Federation. And they basically have made sure that tables with that logo on match their size and construction standard sort of conformity that they require, and this makes sure that the table is robust and has the right level of playability. Now they've got different levels that they've got, from practice tables up to competition tables that are used in the very sort of top end tournaments, but just to sort of keep things simple for you, if you want an ITSF standard table but just used for practice, the model to look at is the Garlando Pro Champion. If you've got a mid-range table, then you've got the Total Fuzzball model, which you see here, which is the Classica, and that's an ITSF registered table. If you'd like to go for a competition grade table but just free play, then we'd recommend the Bonzini ITSF B90. Just go for the standard B90 model because it doesn't match their ITSF requirements. And if you wanted one which is competition grade but also coin operated, then you need to look at the Garlando World Champion. That's the table to choose if you need that. Firstly, let's talk about delivery. So delivery is free to you unless you live in an extremity of the UK, in which case it may well cost you more. Again, phone in and speak to our sales team and they'll be able to advise you if there is an additional charge, say if you live in the Highlands of Scotland. Installation. So you will need to put the table together yourself. The only way you can get it installed by somebody else is to pay for installation, and that is only available on Garlando models, apart from the F2, the F5 and any coin operated models. So if you don't fancy putting it together, you're going to have to buy a Garlando basically, but avoid the F2, F5 or coin operated. Okay, so assuming you're installing the table yourself, read the instructions, follow it all the way through. Don't go off piste and just not read them, because you need to put the players in the right places. We've had a number of customers that put all one colour one end and all the other colour the other end, and that's not how you want it, as you can see here. So pay particular attention when putting it together. You put the players on the right rods in the right places. If you do get it wrong, they're really hard to get back off the rods again. So take your time, pay attention, get it right first time. Okay, next point then, showroom. So we've got 3 converted barns just outside of Bristol with loads and loads of games room stuff in it, but not very many football tables. So if you're in the market for a football table, we generally only have sort of 2 or 3 on display. So if there's a particular one you'd like to come and have a look at, give the sales guys a call first, check to see if we've got it. We tend to sort of rotate them on a monthly basis, but check in first before you drive down and then find that the one you want to have a look at isn't on display. Right, final thing. Finance. We offer finance on most of our football tables. We offer interest-bearing finance on any table for £250 or more. We do interest-free finance on any of our total fuzzball tables, and that's up to 12 months. You can be paying that over. And we do buy now, pay later on a selection of different models. Too many to tell you about on here. The thing to do is just to check the website and see if the particular model you're interested in is available on buy now, pay later. Of course, finance is subject to acceptance, terms and conditions. Make sure you check out the website for full details about our finance offering. And that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you need any more help and advice, by all means, just give our sales team a call. They'll be able to fill in any gaps for you. And we look forward to catching you next time.